Howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here again at Unky Joe's Playhouse. How's everybody doing today? Doing well? It's kind of a rainy, overcast day here. Fall is definitely starting to arrive in South Texas. Thank goodness. I'm happy. So today, what are we going to do? Well, a year ago, when I bought those Dell servers, it was my full intention to fully virtualize every little buggery, bollocksy piece of software I had running on my network. I wanted to virtualize my router and firewall. I wanted to virtualize my mail server. I wanted to virtualize everything. I don't want a bunch of machines sitting around my office consuming power and having to have, multiple machines to do little bitty tasks. So, and as you know, this machine right here has been through the gambit. That's that other. My desktop unit is a Core i5, 16 gig of RAM. So is that one. We have put Plex on there. That's my Hackintosh unit. I've had my surveillance software running on there. We've even made another Exponology NAS out of that unit. It's gone through several iterations. The one thing I've never been able to virtualize, though, is my Blue Iris surveillance software until today. So that's what this video is going to be about. But let's talk for a moment about why I want to virtualize it. The reason I want to virtualize it is I don't want separate machines laying around. I pulled the trigger on those Dell servers because they have iDRAC controllers in them. They have power monitoring and management features in them. They have all the bells and whistles you can't get with a consumer grade or consumer built if I were to build my own server. Like, for example, that beige unit right there, that used to be my virtualization server. That's what I was running before I bought those Dells. Now those have AMD quad-core processors in them. In fact, it's the Athlon X4 635 with 16 gig of RAM, and they served me well for about 3 years. But I wanted, when I saw what Morton was doing at my Playhouse, I wanted those kind of servers in here. It was time. For too long I had suffered with with consumer grade equipment. So that's why I went with the Dells. So the video today is about how I got Blue Iris to run on that in a virtual machine on that Dell. I'm going to take you through it. It's not a step-by-step soup to nuts tutorial. Again, I don't do those. I'm just going to show you what I did to get mine to work. So now let's talk about some of the power features on that Dell. Now some of you have been curious to know how much it cost me a month to run one of those Dell R10 servers. I've got people that are constantly telling me, and I know over in Europe it's a big thing. Power is more expensive over in Europe. Power in the United States in some places is more expensive. But there is a method to my madness. The more machines you have, the more power they consume. And these Dells consume, while they're running during the day, the Dell has a nice little power management thing. It'll show you how much power it consumes. In fact, I'm going to bring that up here real quick in another tab and let you see for yourself on the server that is running. So bear with me. I'm going to bring that up. Just so you can see for yourself. The Dell has a nice little on its iDRAC controller. It has a power monitoring function. So if I click on here, this will tell you how long the server's been up and running, how many kilowatt hours it's consumed, its current rating. So right now it's consuming about 154 watts. The warning is 917, the failure, etc. This tells you power supply 1 current and power supply 2 current that it's providing. This tells you the energy consumption since January 11th of 2017 to Monday, September 25th. It has consumed 764.1 kilowatt hours. So this is another reason why I got these Dell servers, because of the reporting and all the other features. So my average power consumption is about 156 watts, the max power consumption in the last minute, last hour, last day, and last week will tell you how high it's been up to. So if we just take this 147 watts, I believe, yeah, I took 100, let's take 156 just to update it. And my kilowatt hour cost is about, I need to change that to 10. So let me cost. So this is what it cost me to run that server per day, 4 cents. At 10 cents per kilowatt hour, yeah. I should probably keep that at 11 because I do have a delivery charge and all that other stuff. So let's just leave it at 11. It cost me 44 cents a day, not 4 cents a day, but 44 cents a day to run. Let's do this. Go back one. And come back. Okay, 156 watts. Let's just round that up to 160 watts. 24 hours a day, calculate. So it cost me 45 cents per day, $13.69 a month, or $164.25. I could not rent a server for $13.69 a month. So for those of you that tell me I ought to stick this server in the cloud and just lease it and it'd be cheaper, and no, it wouldn't. It would not be cheaper. This is a common misconception people have, that the cloud is cheaper. It's not any cheaper. My power is not expensive here, but it's just something I wanted to show y'all because I've gotten several comments on it. Hey, put your kilowatt hour meter. We want to see how much power that thing consumes. I only run one of these Dells at a time. And keep in mind, I'm running, 5, 6 virtual machines on that Dell. So I'm getting my money's worth out of it. So don't let people frighten you about running these Dell servers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're not that expensive. $13 a month. I'm sure you spend more than that on coffee a month. So in order to make this happen, I need to go over to my secondary Dell server. And I need to move one of the virtual machines off of here and onto my 24/7 server. And I'm going to use Windows 7, Windows 7 virtual machine, a Windows 7 Ultimate virtual machine. So I have two of them. I have Ultimate Lab 1 and Lab 2. Lab 1 is already over there being used as a Windows Media Center machine. But what I want to do is move this Windows 7 64-bit Ultimate over to 2016 DC01 and run it over there, because I think that would be more than powerful enough to run it. So we're going to right click on it and we're going to tell it move, and we're going to move the virtual machine, storage and everything, and we're going to move it to 2016-DC01. Next. We're going to move the virtual machine's data to a single location. Click next. Well, first we have to click view updates, minimize that, and then we can click next. And then the destination on the server, which is going to be the P drive virtual machines, tells us the source location is going to be 37 gig. Next, and then finish. So we'll let the move go. Now, from what I've read, there are some tweaks that need to be done to Blue Iris, etc. Now we need to select a network adapter as well in order to get this to run correctly under our virtual machine. So we were successfully able to get a Windows 7 Ultimate Lab 2 over to our 2016 DC01. Now we need to change some settings. I've got lots and lots of processors, so we're going to go out here and we're going to give this thing, first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it, I think 2 gig of RAM will be fine. When Blue Iris is running, it is consuming about 380 megabytes of RAM. It's not real impactful on RAM, so I'm going to keep it at 2048. However, on the processors, I'm going to go ahead and give this thing, I'm going to give it 2 virtual processors. The other thing I want to do is I want to change the size of the hard drive, but we'll worry about that later. I want to, because I don't know that I'm going to record locally to this virtual hard drive or whether I'm going to save this footage to the network. I haven't decided yet. So, but what I want to do is be able to get the virtual machine to where I can boot it up and get into it, verify all the updates have been done, and make sure there's no accessory software on here I really don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and apply these changes here, and then I'm going to go ahead and boot up the virtual machine. Now you're probably asking me, why am I not using Windows 10? Well, I don't like Windows 10. Well, I do. I like Windows 10, but for what I'm going to be doing, which is just putting one little piece of software in a virtual machine, I find it's easier to just use Windows 7 and not have to deal with the forced update issues that I have with Windows 10. So let's see if I can log in. I don't even know that this machine has been joined to the domain. It's been so long since I played around with it. So it says it was joined to the domain in my notes down below on 3/22/2017. So I'll take it at its word. Now it's detected that other processor, so it's gonna have me restart now. So we'll go ahead and restart. Now Blue Iris is already set up on my workstation here, and it's fairly trivial to set it up on another machine. It certainly doesn't look like it's logging into the domain, so I don't think it is actually joined to the domain anymore. Let's see here. Let's right click and see if we have both of our processors. Yes, we do. Under Device Manager, let's see what it says under Processors. Let's see here. Processors. Bingo, I've got two of them. I don't know what any of these unknown devices are. We'll come back and deal with those in a bit. Yeah, see, it is not joined to the domain. And I bet you it doesn't have a hard-coded IP address. I bet you it's getting a DHCP address. Let's just verify that. It appears to be getting a DHCP address. Let's see here. Yep, it's getting one automatically. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. What I want to do is I want to join this little sucker to the domain. But I want to rename it. So I'm going to come here to Properties, change the settings. I'm going to change the name. MCS hyphen NVR, Network Video Recorder. How's that for a good name? Tell it okay. And of course it's going to restart again, and then we're going to need to join the domain. Now, normally I would hard-code an IP address. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and give this a hard-coded IP address. So we'll cut the video here while it's booting, and I'll come back in a minute. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to use an IP address of 5.4. That's what the old surveillance workstation was at. So we're going to set this one up for 5.4. So let's do that now. Let's see if I can remember. I think it's 5.6 for my DNS server. Yes, it is. And then we'll give it Google server for DNS as well. It's a work network. Close. Now I'm going to reboot again, just to make sure we don't have any issues. Now the other thing I'm going to do while I'm waiting on that to reboot is I'm going to go out to here to my DNS server, and just make sure that because we previously had surveillance 1 on there, so I want to delete that. Let's see, is it gone? Yes, and I'm going to delete that from Active Directory users and computers as well. In fact, I don't even see it there, so. But normally what I would do is go out here, and let me just make sure it's not under. Yeah, there it is there. I'm going to get rid of that. Don't need it in there anymore. Do that with caution. You don't just want to willy-nilly go around deleting items out of your Active Directory. But since that machine is not going to be used again for this foreseeable future, I just knock it out of there. Now what I need to do is join this machine to the domain so that it can log in to the domain. So come back here and join it to the mcs.local. Normally you don't have to type the local in there. I just do it out of habit. I like to put the fully qualified domain name in there. Now if I've done everything right, it should, the act of doing this joins it to the domain, sets up a computer account in Active Directory, and creates a DNS entry in the DNS server. So we've done that. It's going to go ahead and restart. So just to verify that while that machine's rebooting, let's just go out here to computers and we should see MCS NVR, and we do. And then if we come out here to DNS, we should see it has registered itself with the DNS server. Where are you? Do a refresh. There it is right there, MCS NVR. So we know our DNS is correct. And now of course we're being prompted to log in. So I'm going to switch the user. We want to do Adama at mcs.local. So what do you know? I've already had Blue Iris on here, it appears, as my test. Yeah, I've done a lot of testing on this unit. So I'm going to clean up some files on this thing to make sure that it is got enough hard drive space to get started with. Okay, it's got a 126 gig hard drive, so we'll see how that does. Now let's just go out and see what other software is installed on here. Yeah, I've got Office Enterprise. I need to get rid of that. The only thing I want on here is Blue Iris. That's the only thing I want operating on there, and it already has it on there. Yes, please. So we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and get the machine all cleaned up, come back, and then we'll start the Blue Iris configuration and see what kind of luck we have. We also need to, I want to log into this machine remotely and do what I want to do remotely and see if that's going to work. So we've rebooted, we've uninstalled Microsoft Office. Now let's just make sure that we can connect up remotely to this machine using Microsoft RDP. So it should be set up. Yes, it is. And let's see, select users. Adama already has access, so we can cancel on that. The next thing I want to do is make sure that the Windows firewall is not running and it is turned off on a domain network. The domain network is connected, but you notice there's no firewall on it. So I should be able to log out now. Go ahead and minimize this. Then I should be able to bring up another window. And log in. should have my fairly zippy remote desktop to configure Blue Iris on. So let's see. All right. See, I've got some footage out there already. It's already been configured. So what I'm going to do is close down the Blue Iris that's running on my desktop for now, and we'll start playing with this one. All right, so we have Blue Iris configured and installed, and I'm going to show you the kicker that I did to get it to work. Now, as you can see, if you look at the times, they're it's not a frame-by-frame video display. You see, it's kind of herky-jerky. But on my remote monitoring software, it keeps up just fine. And if I go back to an event, this is an event that was recorded. So if I go back to it, you can see it's pretty fluid. I can get it plays just fine. I can search through the footage. I can play, I can pause it, and it does it in real time. So that is working. Now, the trick is that in the demo version of Blue Iris, it wants to, if I right click on this camera and go to camera properties, so this is my lobby camera. The big one right here is record. By default on the demo version, if you go here to right down here to video file format and compression, if you install the demo, it re-encodes the video when it records it. It does video compression and re-encodes it with H.264. So the key to doing it on a virtual machine is make sure you're telling the video compression to write directly to disk with no transcoding, no overlay, no rotate, no hardware encoders, just to write it directly. Now I'm letting it write to the Blue Iris DVR format. I'm keeping that the same. So that is one of the major changes I made, and that is allowing it to record to the virtual hard drive without any stuttering issues, and then I can view the footage like I showed you, the triggered footage I can view. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to set up a few other settings on here just to show you how I do it. So this is my lobby camera, so I'm going to go in here, and on the trigger I'm going to, let's see here, video, okay, on the trigger I'm going to go out and configure my motion sensor, and what I'm going to do is use object detection. I'm not going to use zones and hotspots. I find that object detection works better, and then what I do is move my sensitivity down to the first tick there, and I think it's about 152. Tell it OK, and then if I trigger now, it'll record a video. Now also when it records, I want it to record audio. So I'm going to come over here to the audio tab and make sure that audio enable audio channel is on, and it records the IP camera stream. So that way, if I need to try to hear the audio on there, I can do that as well, and you can adjust your gain here, etc. So that camera is now set up, so I'm going to click OK, and it's going to reset the camera and come back online. And then if I bring up the footage, you see it's playing normally. It's not stuttering, it's not freezing. I can go backwards, I can go forwards. No real lag, even on a virtual machine. So that's excellent. That's excellent news. So I want to do the same for my kitchen camera. I want to go and set the trigger to make sure it's set for object detection, and then I'm going to put it at less, or more sensitive, sorry, at about 152 is what I want it at. Here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and trigger it now just so it takes some video. It takes a little longer to reset that camera because it's a wireless one. And you can hear on that one we even have audio in there. So I'll go ahead and minimize that. So what I need to do is come here under my audio on that other camera, and I need to kick the gain up. I think I end up putting it up to the maximum on the gain. and then we'll see if I can listen. Yeah, it is listening. I don't know if you can hear the audio back there, but it is listening. So that's good. And then the same thing with our living room camera. We want to come here to properties, trigger, make sure, okay, I've already done that one. Good. And audio, make sure I enable the audio channel. I'm going to pump the gain up to 200%. And then we should be good to go. So now I've set my settings, so what I need to do now is I'm going to come out here to File Explorer, because Blue Iris by default is going to record items here, and I just want to take a look-see and see what kind of size they're using. So time will tell. We've got a 120 gig hard drive out there. We'll see how long it takes to fill that up. So there has been an update to Blue Iris, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. I'm on the virtual machine right now. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, and then I'm going to go out and do the update. And see if I don't have my little video viewer back. If not, it's no big deal. I can just log into the virtual machine and review the videos, but it's a nice little touch having that. Well, I guess that did it. Let's see, I'm going to check for an update. Let's see, recheck every day, prompt at startup. Okay, update, redo. Check for update. Okay, my software is up to date. So, to no avail, I tried using Mozilla Firefox, which I've used before with this, and Google Chrome. And either one of them, when I would click on one of these videos over here, would allow me to have this little slider, as you can see down here. This little slider lets me go back and forth in the video and look at specific things. And that wasn't available only when I use Internet Explorer and I use the ActiveX control. Do I have all these functions? I can even unmute it, etc. So we'll have to look into that, but I'm not going to let it hold back the video. But there basically it is in a nutshell the ActiveX viewer, and this is what I keep up and running usually most of the time to keep an eye on the surveillance cameras. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the surveillance machine, and I'm just going to disconnect from it, leave it running in the background. Let's see what kind of performance it. So right now it's hitting the CPU at about 5%. Let's look at our task manager over here, see what kind of performance we're getting. It's using about 2 gig of memory like I planned, but it seems to be doing fine on memory. Let's see if it'll tell you that up here. See, it doesn't tell you here how much memory you choose in your CPU, but you can see the video is in real time. This is the actual live images from my living room, my lobby, and my kitchen. So it is working well. So one additional thing I want to address, I'm in the virtual machine right now here, the MCS NVR. If I come over here to settings and to the startup tab right here, I have set this to run as a Windows service. So what will happen is if the computer reboots, has a power failure or whatever, the computer will come up, log in automatically, and run this Windows service, so that I don't have to worry about that. Plus, it uses less resources when you run it as a service, because it doesn't run the user interface. Okay, it runs it as a service, minimizes it down in the tray here, and uses less memory that way, and is because it's not running the user interface. So. And then you can also use a system icon, a tray icon, when minimized. I'm gonna check that as well, but I'm not gonna use a password to restore. So now when I minimize Blue Iris, it should go away off the taskbar, and it does. It's not there anymore. It's a little icon right there telling you that it's running. Well, there you go. So we were successful. Thank goodness. Lord knows I've spent enough time on this project trying to get it to work properly. And it was just a matter of doing the research and getting a little more knowledge on how Blue Iris works. And the kicker to Blue Iris was not having it encode the video as it recorded, because that takes a lot of processor power. So it's recording direct. And I checked the video today, and it's been up and running about 3 or 4 days now, and it's accumulated about 5 gigabits worth of video. So it's pretty frugal with hard drive space. So now this is what I'm going to use, continue to use, is Blue Iris, because I really like the software. I think it cost me about $60 online about a year ago when I bought it, or half a year ago, whatever it was. And the idea, of course, was I didn't want a one of these big machines sucking up a huge amount of power sitting there running just for the surveillance software. It just didn't make sense. So in my quest to make this happen, the people that make the Blue Iris software right here is called Amcrest, and they also make DVRs, NVRs. They also make security cameras, etc. So I also did purchase this. This is an Amcrest 8-channel 6 megapixel network video recorder. This is the back of the box. So I'm going to have a review coming up on this here pretty soon. This was about $90 on Amazon, and yeah, you probably all already know the results. I'm still using Blue Iris, but I wanted to give the Amcrest a fair shake and show you how it works. And even if I don't end up using it here, I'll use it for a customer or a client. So I'll just keep it in stock. But look for a review coming up on that unit as well. And it's really weird. It's interesting because Morton just recently released a video at my Playhouse on his network video recorder and camera setup. He bought a kit from So Good, I forgot the name of the company he used, but go out and check out My Playhouse, Morton's My Playhouse, and check out his video. He posted it today. Today is Wednesday, September the 27th, so be sure to go out there and check out his video. It was pretty interesting, and actually I liked his NVR better than I liked the Amcrest, but we'll get into that later. So anyway, hope you found the video entertaining and informative. As always, give us a thumbs up down below. Leave your comments in the comment section. Thanks again so much for watching and joining us. And a shout out to Willie for shouting out on my last video about the firewall setup. I spent most of a few weeks looking at all your videos on the Ubiquity Edge Router products and learned a lot from your videos, so thanks. And this is what YouTube's all about, is helping one another and giving back. So again, thanks for watching the videos, and as always, we'll see you on the other side.